Hello everyone, my name is Ichka92 and this game made me rage because of how it handles difficulty, but more on that later. The game in its essence is a dungeon crawler. Each and every ship that you board tries to be unique, but that is the problem this game's into really quick. Each ship has a bridge, oxygen, engine room and more often than not, couple of holes. They spice it up depending on the ship with different special rooms. But I cannot shake the feeling that I'm running through the same holes, the same rooms, looting the same crates for the same loot. It just feels really repetitive. But they really try to shake things up with enemy variety and different buffs and debuffs. The buffs and debuffs come in form character perks and or disabilities, making each character feeling fresh and unique. From a short guy to a narrowed vision guy. Other than your character, each ship can have a way to make it easier or harder for it to be looted or cleared, whether that is more oxygen on ship or more oil spills on the floor. Or maybe both. It adds quite a nice variety to the game. Enemies on the other hand, I have a small complaint on them. The problem is most of the enemies shoot at you. Whether they're Turrets, mutants, robots, whatever. They can shoot and have some kind of special ability. For example, like this Spook. The Spook, he can shoot at you, but he can also disappear and reappear behind you or wherever he sees fit to attack. There is some suicide units too, and later on there are some space whales and security cameras and all of these other beautifully designed enemies. Add to that the difficulty system and now we have a problem. But before that, I would kindly ask you to subscribe for more content like this and leave your opinion down in the comments. I always love a good discussion. Think about what I told you about this game. There is a ton of variety of enemies, there is a ton of weapons and tools to deal with them, a whole bunch of different areas to fight them in, the buffs and the debuffs, and then you add this difficulty system to that, it falls flat on its face, and I mean it doesn't just slam on the floor, it explodes like an atom bomb and somehow it creates a black hole and takes everything down with it. The problem I have is that they are scared of challenging the players and making the game feel like every other looter shooter. Removing the option to choose a difficulty and making the game hard by intentionally designing where the harder enemies are gonna be with the loot for the next weapon that you need to destroy some other not necessarily harder enemies but more complex enemies. To make the player think about his next move, to make the player aware that there is a reason he has all of this equipment. It is a reason he's gonna feel that he deserves all of this equipment. Because he figured out how to come across some obstacle and at the end giving the meaning to it all. So that way you will completely remove the focus on how the dungeon looks. And hell, I would bet my money that if this game had only 3 types of dungeons with the same layout, but each one had enemies and loot that were combined for a reason, the game would be better. Putting the player's focus in the right place will naturally create the will to play the game. And that's why you don't need to be worried about the content and the amount of content you're gonna put in front of the player. Other than that, I have no grudges with the game. The artwork is just amazing. The comic book art style fits the game perfectly. Each new weapon, enemy or a tool feels amazing to look at and use. The sound design is well made as well. The usage of guns and other tools does require some amount of skill, which is always appreciated. But sadly my verdict for the game is a 6 out of 10. It really had a huge potential that was sadly not used. If you want to catch me live, I'm streaming on Twitch, and to get notified about it, follow me on Twitter. The links are down below. Currently, I'm working on one of the classics, Halo Reach. Till next time.